This is the home edition of the Dreger Cafe. Blake Wheeler, the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, kind enough to join us this week. Blake, a young family, 3 kids. Aside from working out, I'm going to assume that it's not very difficult for you to stay busy.
Yeah, we're definitely busy. I mean, it's just a matter of obviously juggling our oldest son Louis. He's in first grade. He's got a lot of schoolwork to stay on top of. So keeping him engaged while also our daughter's 4 and our youngest is turning 3 here pretty quick. You know, it's funny when you're playing, you wish for situations like this. You lay in bed and on the road and you're like, what I would do to just have a week off and hang out with my family. Well, we're almost 10 weeks in. Be careful what you wish for. You know, we're almost 10 weeks into this, but you know, there's hiccups here and there, but I think Sam and I are making the best of it, and it's been great to spend a lot of quality time with them.
Yeah, good for you. I mean, when you're not working out, I mean, is there something you can do to occupy your time? I mean, are you a barbecue guy? Are you a clean? I've never cleaned more than I have in the last 10 weeks. And it's not like I'm a germaphobe or a clean freak. It's just, it's something to do when you don't have anything specific that needs to be done. So what in your world has kind of taken hold of that side of things?
With the 3 kids, there's no such thing as cleaning up. Like you almost have to let it go, because if you want to clean up, you're going to be cleaning up all day long. So
Yeah.
at the end of every day, we put the house back together. We try to get them to help as much as possible, keep their areas clean. But there's a part of you that is losing your mind all day long about what's the situation of the household. But yeah, we've tried to divvy up those jobs. I mean, obviously the vacuum is that's a good job. The toilets and bathroom, that's not the best job. So you really, you know, we have a great friend of ours, Bev in Winnipeg. She does an outstanding job keeping our shout out Bev back in Winnipeg. She does a great job keeping our house in line, and we're really missing her right now.
No kidding. I mean, we all go through it. The NHL, as you know, NHLPA have the Return to Play Committee, and they've done a terrific job of going through all the protocols and working towards a finalized agreement with the National Hockey League that makes good sense for everyone. Your good friend and teammate, Mark Scheifele, is on this committee. Are you in constant communication with him? Are you grilling him for the latest, or do you just wait for the texts or the emails to come in to keep you up to date on a day-by-day or week-by-week basis?
I give him a hard time because, you know, I'll be like, Scheif, I'm getting all my information from, you know, Pierre LeBrun and Darren Dreger. What's going on, man? Keep me up to date here. And so, you know, he's doing a great job. I think the hardest thing, and the thing that he's been in constant communication with us about, is just trying to come up with a scenario that is reasonable for everyone. I tell you what, they're exhausting every angle to try to make it right and make it as fair as possible, and try to keep the integrity of our playoff system intact, because it's, you know, what Sid said not too long ago. I mean, I don't have experience winning it, but, you know, making it deep into the playoffs, you know, just how special that is, and how tough that is to have that opportunity. So there's a lot of things they're juggling, and they're doing a great job.
Well, and following up on that, because clearly, you know, we have to do what we can do to decipher fact from fiction as the process is ongoing. Nothing is perfect. We know that it's not going to be a perfect formula, because unprecedented times. We've said that over and over and over again. One thing that I believe, Blake, that the NHL and the players have juggled with and wrestled with is the fairness sense, right? If all can agree on a 24-team format, well, then to get to that point where it's equal footing, how do you do it? You know, is there a play-in formula that then, you know, ultimately becomes a 16-team traditional playoff field? And, you know, if a team is on the outside of that playoff picture looking in, should he get the same level of footing going into the play-in as a team that maybe is locked down on a playoff spot? So these are some of the things I'm sure you guys as players have had to contend with.
There's no question. And with the parity in our league, there's so many teams that are in the mix right now, which is obviously a great problem to have.
Yeah.
I think, you know, what you need to be really, you know, conscientious of in this situation is that, you know, there are some teams that have had incredible regular seasons, and, you know, you don't want to handicap them as well. I think the hard thing would be to to have the bubble teams play a play-in, and all of a sudden now, Boston or, St. Louis or Colorado have been at the top of the standings all year. They're sitting there cold and have to play a team that's already played maybe a
Yeah.
3 to 5 game series, and they're coming in hot. So those are all some of the big issues. I think that there's probably a way that once they shake out whatever the numbers are going to be, try to make it so all the teams are playing before, when I say the games matter, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
do or die situations come up, so that, the players are in somewhat decent shape, and so that, the competitive balance is intact.
You're a family man, obviously. We just talked about that. Where are you with the idea of the hub city formats? It seems like the NHL and the players don't really have a choice. Logistically, that makes the most sense, but it could come to some degree at the cost of seeing your family on a regular basis, even though they're still kind of strategizing and looking at allowances on that front as well. Is it just simple for you of, okay, if it's a 2014 format, it's going to be a condensed package no matter how they squeeze it, so let's just get back, let's get playing, and you embrace it no different than you might 4 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs?
That's hard because,
Yeah.
especially after the last, 9, 10 weeks, seeing what, my wife goes through when I'm on the road, and all the, parents go through when, their partner's away. I mean, it's really tough and it's challenging. So the thought of the some of the grind that we've had to go through, and now putting that on her alone, that's tough. That really is tough. But I think that if we're able to come up with a scenario that, we're ensuring it's safe, ultimately there's some risk that's going to be taken that's inherent. But if we can make sure that the players are safe, that we're doing this really responsibly, we're not taking away from, people that really need to be tested, their ability to be tested, all those things that are way more important than our sport. I think even just seeing some of the sports come back a little bit. I mean, even the golf match last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
at Seminole down here, like, I think having something to look forward to does a ton for people. People need something like that right now. I think we're in a pretty, lucky situation as pro athletes that we're just sitting here waiting this out. I mean, there's people that are going through a lot worse than us. And if we can somehow, take away some of that burden for people and give them something to look forward to, where, 7 o'clock tonight, I get to watch my team play a game, then I guess that's a sacrifice that we're willing to make, some of the time that we're going to have with our families to try to hopefully give people a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a welcome distraction. There's no question about that. Good of you to think and feel that way as well. When you think, Blake, about the return of the National Hockey League, okay, we've discussed the hub cities. We don't entirely know what the restrictions will look like, but there'll be restrictions. That's just going to be a way of life. No fans in the building. It's going to be so different when you guys are able to get back onto the ice. What do you think of most? Is there anything that concerns you, or just overall, how weird do you think it's going to be, at least initially?
It's definitely going to be weird. Now that this has gone on for as long as it has, I think everyone's come to terms with that. I mean, the German soccer league's already playing without fans, and it's
Yeah.
weird watching these guys play and there's nobody there. There's no environment, but um, it is what it is. You just got to suck it up and make the best of it. And I think that just knowing that there's going to be tons of people watching, that's going to go a long way. The weirdest part is going to be when you score a goal, and then what do you do? I mean, there's not going to be any hugging or high-fiving. So there's going to be some logistical things that are going to be different, but it's unprecedented what everyone's going through. I think that we're talking about little ticky-tacky things in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things. Like, if we're able to come back and play a game and entertain people, like, we'll deal with the no fans. We'll deal with not being able to shower at the rink, or, whatever we come up with. Those are just, small in the grand scheme of things. And those things will work themselves out.
All right. Well, quick thought on the Winnipeg Jets, and we won't dwell too much on the past. I thought you handled it beautifully in talking about Dustin Byfuglien and that situation several weeks ago when you addressed it. Well, now it's more or less behind everyone, behind the National Hockey League, given the fact that his contract has been terminated. So many changes this year to the Winnipeg Jets prior to the start of the season. You had to deal with this all the way through the season. Is it just going to be nice to get back together as a team and not talk about what isn't happening, what didn't happen, and all the changes that you've had to endure and embrace throughout the course of this season?
I mean, there's no question. It was it was a challenging season. I think especially early on, the first couple months, just that unknown, that like that distraction was real. Probably not for so much for the guys that haven't been around, but for a handful of us that have been around and been around Buff for a long time, and just trying to navigate our way through that, and not knowing how it's going to end, if it's going to end, if he's going to come back, if he's not going to come back. How do we prepare if he does come back? Do we welcome him back? So all those little things were definitely a distraction. But the thing I loved about our team from almost day one of training camp is our ability to work. Everything that went on outside the rink, all the distractions, that all went away when we stepped on the ice. It's a cliche thing, but for us, it was real. Even some of the things that we did to bring our team together and try to shelter ourselves from some of those distractions. I mean, and then you go into like the injuries we had all year, and it was just one of those things where it was one thing after another. We never just were on solid ground all year. And then finally we were healthy. We were playing well. We had made a couple trades at the deadline that really helped out our team. So I think we were feeling really good about our opportunity and our chances to make the playoffs. And then obviously this comes up. So for us, it's going to be the same thing. If and when we're able to come back, nothing's going to change. It's going to, let's hit the ice and leave it all out there and work, because we had a lot of great guys on that team and in that room. We had a lot of fun together, and hopefully we get the chance to finish it off and see how far we can go, because you never know at this time, especially with everything that's gone on. I mean, everything's up for chance now. So if you can get on a little bit of a run, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave you this, but I mean, look, I know as a fan, we're intrigued by the possibilities of what that 24-team tournament in terms of the format is going to look like. But from a player's standpoint, it has to be a little bit exciting too, because it's different. And as you said, your team for the most part has got to be healthy going into this thing. And why shouldn't your chances be as good as any team going in?
You play enough in this league. You just want a chance. And that's really all there is. I mean, if you miss the playoffs, you got no shot. As long as you're still fighting at the end of the regular season, you got a chance. You have a fighting chance. And it's all about, building that belief, and you got to earn that step by step throughout the playoffs. You got a hot goaltender, and our goalie was playing as well as anyone. You never know what could happen. So, like I said, I think we were excited about, some of the potential things that could happen. And as long as we're in that 24-team mix, which I don't have my calculator out right now, but I think we're in there. You never know. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, no question. I think you're in there too. Blake, thanks for doing this. Be well and keep that vacuum charged at all times.
All right, man. Thanks, Rex. Thanks for having me, man.
This segment is presented by Old Spice. Smell like your own man.